Hey there, workplace warriors. Welcome to another video. If you're stopping by for the first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. I'm on this mission to help you live your very best career life. I'm doing so one video at a time. So if you find value from this content, I need you to do me a couple of favors. First, smash that like button and let the algorithm know that this is great content that others need to see. It'll help me to reach more people and help more people. Then also share this content with your network. I'm sure you know some others who are on a quest to live their very best career life. Then when you're ready, when you're comfortable, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you to join the Nnamtique fold or the Workplace Warrior fold and join me for every video by clicking the notification bell and all so that you can be amongst the first to know when I drop new content. So we're picking back up on our job search readiness series and discussing job interview types. And next to the one-on-one traditional in-person interview, this interview type that we're talking about today is probably the second most utilized type of interview, and that is the panel, or affectionately known as the firing squad interview. So there are, just like any other interview type, there are keys to mastering this type of interview as well, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So the reason why it's called the panel or firing squad interview is because you, the job candidate, will be interviewed by a panel, usually anywhere from 3 people up to sometimes there have been as many as 5 people in some of the interviews that I have been a part of or have been a candidate who was being considered for a position. And the reason why it got the affectionate name or the nickname of firing squad is because it is carried out in just that type of way that would probably remind most people of a firing squad, because they typically do a round robin. The interview panelists typically ask the interview questions in a round robin style or fashion, meaning that each person takes 1 or 2 questions and they're responsible for asking their 1 or 2 assigned questions, and they just go around the group or across the panel until everyone gets an opportunity to ask a question and they've finished asking all of the questions that they prepared in advance to ask you. So some ways that you can master this particular interview type. I mean, of course, it goes without saying to be on time about 10 minutes early is fine. But even before that, when you are invited for the interview, ask the person who invites you to be interviewed who you'll be interviewing with. And ask them for not only the names of the individuals who you will interview with, but also their titles and their email addresses. You don't have to ask for the email addresses on the front hand, because that's something that you can also ask during your interview at the end. But you know, if the person is willing to go ahead and share email addresses with you, then that will be a plus, because it will be one less thing you have to worry about remembering to ask for during your interview or at the end of your interview. So some tips once you get into the interview are to make sure that you shake everyone's hand, or today some people don't feel comfortable shaking hands post-pandemic, and especially during the winter time and spring, when allergies and illnesses seem to be at their peak. So you can do a fist bump, shoulder, or elbow tap or what have you, but make sure that you greet everyone on the panel when you walk into the room. If any of the panelists are not there and you are told that there is a panelist missing, if that person enters the room, the interview room at a later time, a few minutes later, or what have you, then make sure that you acknowledge them and tell them that it's nice to meet them. So that is the start. The other is as you answer questions, or as they ask you questions, make sure you listen to the questions very carefully and make sure that you answer the question thoroughly, honestly, and completely, because sometimes some people will answer half of the question or 3/4 of the question and they won't go back to make sure that they've covered everything so that is being asked for in the question. And that is key because it can otherwise give the interviewers the impression that you don't pay attention to detail, or that you are forgetful. And you don't want them to have that impression. And the other is, while you are being asked the interview questions, don't feel bad asking if the interviewer could complete the question. Typically, interviewers are not going to have any type of problem with that request, because they know that you're trying to answer the questions you're answering the questions to your best of your ability. And, while you're concentrating on an answer to a question, sometimes you can lose your thought. Why? Because we're all human and you might forget part of the question. Another practice is to ask the interviewer, once you give the part of your answer that you think is appropriate, then ask the interviewer, is there any additional information that I could add, or something to the effect of repeating the question, paraphrasing what they've asked, and repeating that question back, to the interviewer, to make sure that you're understanding what is being asked, that you have a correct understanding of what is being asked. Another is that while you're providing answers or responses to interview questions, make sure that you kind of gaze from side to side at every member of the panel. Make eye contact and hold eye contact for about 3 seconds, and make sure that they see that you're engaging with each and every one of them. The other is to try and, when it's appropriate, try and think of questions that you could ask each one of them. And if you've done your homework like I suggested and asked the person who scheduled your interview, who you'll be interviewing with, you should have gone onto LinkedIn, see if they have a profile on LinkedIn, or sometime even Facebook, and check out those bios and posts where they're having fun or what have you, and be able to, let them know when you're interviewing that, you did your research and you just wondered if they might be interested in certain things. And that way you can build a strong connection with your interviewers by being able to say, hey, in preparation for my interview, I looked you up on Facebook, and I see that, you enjoy fly fishing or what have you. And if that's something that you enjoy, then hey, that you probably just scored some awesome brownie points by letting them know that you researched them online and that you are using that knowledge to create a stronger, even stronger connection with them. The other is just making sure that when the interview is over, that you wait for the interviewer or the person who is in charge of scheduling the interviews. Make sure that you acknowledge everyone, tell them thank you for interviewing you, and make sure that you understand what to expect next from them. And that way, you will have done so much to improve your chances of being invited for more complex interviews, or being invited to take on additional not roles, but additional responsibilities that are normally outside of your area of expertise. Employers want to see that they have someone who is very eager and capable of taking on whatever responsibilities that they give to them. So there you have it. Those are some tips and tidbits on how to master the panel or firing squad interview. I hope you got value, and as I said earlier, like, share, and subscribe, and take care, and make sure that you come back for future videos, because I'm going to help you live your best career life. Bye-bye.